Hey, I'm back.
It has been a year and a half since I last spoke in one of my videos, but here I am once again with a lot of new coasters under my belt. One of the more notable new coasters I've ridden is the one that I will be discussing today, Top Thrill 2. Top Thrill 2 is the reimagined version of Top Thrill Dragster, which I have also ridden, and that of course is reminiscent of the late King to Ka. Having now ridden all three of these strata coasters, I feel properly equipped to compare them and provide a 100% definitive viewpoint on which of these is the best. Now, I know I said I'm 100% equipped, but I do only have one ride on Top Thrill 2. That one ride is in the front row, and while I can't speak for the back row, I'm more than happy to assume what it feels like and tell you that, so I will. I'm known among my friends for being able to guess the G-force of airtime moments just from POVs, and yes, I completely made that up. Please keep watching this video, I swear I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, with that said, let's get into it. I'm sure you all are familiar with what happened to the original Top Thrill Dragster, so I won't bother getting into that, but it is absolutely tragic and my heart goes out to the woman who was injured and all of her loved ones. Nonetheless, that incident has left us with Top Thrill 2, the kinda Intamin, kinda Zamperla strata coaster. Fellas, this is such an amazing ride. When Cedar Point announced that they were going to Zamperla for this project, I, much like everyone else, was extremely skeptical, and given how its opening year went, I feel rather justified in thinking that. But while that may have been an unmitigated disaster, Cedar Point does at long last have an excellent ride on their hands, and one that the public will eat up for hopefully years to come. And by the way, anytime from here on out, if I say TT2, that just means Top Thrill 2. I just don't want to have to type it a bunch in my script. Thanks for understanding. My first important note about this ride is the locker system. If you don't care, then feel free to jump ahead, but I feel this is important enough to talk about. I rope dropped TT2 with my friend, and the first thing you have to do is to get a locker. Now, it's my understanding that these are supposed to be free, but when my friend and I walked to the kiosk, it made us pay $3. We know for sure that at other kiosks the lockers were free though, as another guy in the locker area was shouting about how glad he was that it was free. So, if anyone is watching from Cedar Point, what's the deal here? I had already paid and felt rather scammed out of my $3. Not a massive deal, but shoot, $3 is $3. So anyways, the ride. When you board the train, you'll notice if you've ridden either Dragster or Ka, that the trains sit much higher over the track on TT2. This may seem like a minor detail, but it makes a big difference later on in the ride. I had not heard anything going into this ride about the restraints, so I was very excited to see how they were, and I'm happy to report that they're fantastic. I haven't ridden any modern Intamin coasters, so I can't compare them to those, but I'd imagine they're quite similar. No complaints from me here. I even had a decent amount of room on my ride, which also comes into play later. Following the station, you turn onto the launch track. Once the train parks, the switch track will move into place behind you, and the countdown will begin. I don't know what it is, but something about the build-up for this launch felt really lackluster compared to Top Thrill Dragster. Perhaps it was just me having less anticipation since they both just have lights that indicate when the train goes, but something about Dragster's car idling sounds followed by the tires squealing was way cooler than just the basic countdown. I digress though, this is a very minor detail. This first launch was an odd experience. Having ridden Dragster and Ka, I was staring down at this launch track and was so incredibly braced for the kick of a hydraulic launch. Then it launched and it's really weak. This first launch is advertised at 74 miles an hour, and it's fine I guess, but gosh, it feels pretty slow. The acceleration doesn't come within 17 miles of the old hydraulic launch, and it's kinda unfortunate. Fun, but just fun, nothing more. The backwards launch is where it gets good though. I'm very familiar with backwards launches, having Mr. Freeze at my home park, so I wasn't expecting much, and I was also kinda just expecting it to be a boost and not very noticeable, but I was wrong. You definitely feel it kick, and it's actually quite fun. Accelerating up to 100 miles per hour backwards is a very unique feeling, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Next is, of course, the back spike. Again, having Mr. Freeze at my home park, I wasn't insanely impressed by this element, but if you've never felt a spike like this while staring at the ground, then you just might love it. It's basically several seconds of sustained, almost floater airtime while you just sit there staring at the ground. And it's a lot of fun. Personally though, my favorite part of this ride is when you fall back to the ground and hit the third launch. This launch is incredibly weak, but boy is it fun. I mean, who doesn't love flying along the whole length of a launch track at 100 plus miles an hour? The wind in your face is unreal. I absolutely love this launch. It should be noted though that this is definitely not butter smooth. It is just as radly as the original Top Thrill Dragster, maybe even more so. I don't think it's quite as rough as King Ka was, but again, not glass smooth by any means. Now you enter the section of ride that is, in theory, identical to the original Top Thrill Dragster. However, if you remember when I was talking about the seats being higher up off the track, this is where that comes into play. When you hit the twist on the way up, you get some very strong laterals and even a little bit of airtime. That happened to some extent on the OG Dragster, but it is massively accentuated on TT2. You really do just get flung like a ragdoll, and that is my kind of thing without a doubt. I mean, Outlaw Run is my #1 coaster. As you crest the top of the top hat, you get some fantastic airtime. It honestly took me a second to even realize I was out of my seat because it happens a little gradually, but boy is this some excellent sustained flagector. Now, having seen other POVs, and knowing that my ride occurred when it was a mere 55 degrees outside, it would not surprise me if the airtime I felt is actually on the weaker side of airtime felt by any TT2 rider. And that's pretty awesome. If this ride only gets better, I'm on board. It would appear to me that in the back row you get similar airtime, but as you come down instead of as you go up, and it may be a little bit stronger too. TT2 for sure goes over the top faster than Dragster though, and you notice it with this airtime. Next is the twist down, which, following the same theme, is better on TT2 than on Dragster. In the front, you don't get thrown nearly as hard as you do on the twist up, but I hear that the back is absolutely bonkers, and I believe it. This is a super fun element. Then the ride is over. Yes, it's still a short ride. Even with the swing launch, it is definitely short. I do love it though. It's short, but it's a frickin' blast. It's just an extremely fun ride. I love that the top hat has been enhanced, even if the launch has been heavily neutered. It does suck that it took so long to get TT2 to stay open for a long time, but I'm glad that it is now and that I got the chance to ride it, and I hope it can stay operational all summer. Now for the verdict. In my opinion, both Top Thrill Dragster and King Ka are better rides, simply due to the nature of the hydraulic launch, but I can fully understand anyone thinking TT2 is better. And also, don't hate me, but Ka is better than Dragster. And with that said, I'm gonna go hibernate for another year and a half. See ya.